This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all of your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LGBT era. Now let's start the show.
Welcome everyone to episode 141 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded this February 25th, 2021. I am your host, Mark, and I welcome you to another week of your DissidiaFFOO podcast where we share all your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. A couple things before we begin and before I introduce my co-host tonight. Zeno is back. Our friend Zeno at the TXB Nation is back to streaming. We'll have to have him on the show sometime in the future. That would be great. We love Zeno. But we do want to give a shout out to Zeta Kai, who is a pretty important part of our community. Zeta Kai does a lot of the translation from the Japanese version of the game to English, so we know what's going on and what characters get and all that kind of stuff from the Ope Ope show and in-game stuff as well. He was in a car accident and is currently hospitalized, so our thoughts and prayers... Hey, Zeno's here. Our thoughts and prayers are with Zeta. Hope they are healthy and well soon. And so we'll keep you up to date on that. Hopefully we'll hear from Zeta soon. But just keep Zeta in your thoughts, prayers, good vibes, whatever you do. And we'll let you know what's going on with there. So I am joined by my co-host. First, you know her. Her name is Erole. Ero, how you doing?
Doing great. I've been busy recording a lot of varying things this week, such as those wonderful interlude stories. I will have that up when the final one is done. And yeah, I've been drawing and stuff this week, trying to get some new graphics put together for YouTube. I've been very busy. Back over to you, Mark.
And we're also joined by Kreese. Kreese, how are you?
I am exhausted. Today's been a very long day for me. I am going to crash and sleep hopefully very well tonight after the podcast. But I am ready to power through this and get this powered out.
Yeah, well, everybody do check out TXB Gaming back from the break, moving and life stuff. So back to regular streaming, and check out Zeno at TXB Gaming. Check out Zeno at TXB Gaming. Make sure to like, sub, ring the bell for notifications. That smooth, chiseled jawline. Hey, we got some Final Fantasy news. That's beyond Final Fantasy, Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, and that is, first, the sad news. Kingdom Hearts Union, the Kingdom Hearts mobile game, which has been going on for a few years now, is closing its door, so you will no longer be able to play that, but they are going to offer an offline mode, which is the story. So interesting. That might be something for the future of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia when the game runs its course. So just keep that in mind. Be interesting to see with that. But more exciting news, it has been announced, first on the PlayStation 5, there's going to be an interlude for Final Fantasy VII Remake featuring none other than Yuffie as a kind of side quest story where she comes to Midgar with some of her folks. And so you're going to get a little bit of game. And then that will be before Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, the second part of that story. More importantly, to the mobile community, it's also been announced that there will be 2 Final Fantasy VII mobile games coming in 2022. The first is a Battle Royale game, kind of similar to Fortnite, where you will be 30 years before the events of Final Fantasy VII and running around as soldiers shooting each other. I have zero interest in that, but I know a lot of you youngins might enjoy that. And then there is a Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, which will be a episodic walkthrough of all the Final Fantasy titles, including Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Crisis Core, Final Fantasy Before Crisis, Final Fantasy VII Dirge Cerberus, and Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. And so it will kind of be an episodic walkthrough and playthrough of all of those titles. And What that looks like, I don't know, but you can check out the SQEX Twitter and watch a little intro to that video, to that game. Looks pretty cool. Arrow, any thoughts on that? Have you had a chance to see that stuff yet?
I did. I checked out the Ever Crisis trailer in the Battle Royale trailer. I have not checked out the Yuffie trailer yet, but man, I am hyped for Ever Crisis. Those graphics, I was like, when I thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be a thing, when I thought that's what the graphics were more going to look like than what we actually got in the PlayStation release. So I'm hoping my iPad will be able to run it next year, because I really want to play that remake of Final Fantasy that's coming really bad.
Infamous Element, thank you. HaateXIII subbed before the show. But yes, thank you, Infamous Element. Infamous Element asks what else they want to breathe into existence. So yeah, I don't know. We'll get back to you. Hey, Chris, did you get a chance to look at these previews and any thoughts on them?
Absolutely not. I have no thoughts on them.
Excellent. Hey, well, speaking of thoughts, remember we are in the midst of a 3rd anniversary giveaway for all of our subs. So all of you who are subbed to the channel, you have a chance to win these beautiful Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Trading Arts mannequin figures. That is Cloud, Squall. Oh no! Oh no! Mr. Bill! Zidane. Zidane, Tidus, and Lightning. They are the mannequin versions. I am going to send all 5 of them to a lucky winner. Not the one that I just dropped. The ones that I'm sending you are sealed in a box. The one that I dropped is mine. He is okay. That's Cloud. So if you are subbed, I'm going to run it till March 7th. I will take a screenshot of our subs on February 28th, but I will extend it to March 7th. If you are a sub, if you've been gifted a sub, if you're a Twitch subscriber through Amazon Prime or through Tier 1, Tier 2, through 3, etc., don't do that. Just Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 1 or Twitch Prime is fine for us. Please. I went to show you on the camera and I forgot I was in studio mode. There they are. There's the figures. Sound effects for the people at home. That's very exciting. But if you do gift subs, your name will be entered in additional times. So if you gift 5 subs, your name will be in the drawing for 5 times, 10 subs, 10 times, etc. Raw Life, thank you for the sub. So, all right. I'm just going to write that down real quick. Well, let's get to some news of the day. First, there was an updated user agreement. Ho, 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 user agreement, you say? How exciting. Let's talk about that for years. Now, the only thing that I want to talk about with the user agreement is that there's some confusion still in 2021 that what you invest into a mobile game doesn't mean anything. They can close it down. You don't get anything rebated. You don't get money back based on the number of gems you can have, and you don't own anything of the game. We are, in fact, kind of renting the game, and anything we buy is kind of renting the game. And so that is all. So that's been kind of going around Facebook and Reddit in terms of, oh, did you read the terms of service? Well, that's always been the terms of service. That's the terms of service with any mobile game because, no, you don't own it. And actually, that's very similar in terms of any actual video game. Even if you own a physical copy of the game, you don't own the game nor the rights to the game. So Zarathi, thank you for the gift subs. Appreciate that. So Arrow, any thoughts about the terms of service agreements?
Nothing really. But one thing that Mino brought up in one of our chats today was that when you play these types of games, it's more like paying for an experience.
Yeah.
So when you're giving gems, or you buy gems, it's like you're paying into that experience. You're increasing your enjoyment of the experience. The free to play and the pay to win experience is very different in any gacha game. Usually it's like either like a time investment or a money investment. It's like juggling those two things. Depends on what you value more. Anyway, That's all I have to say. It's the terms of service. It's generally going to say the stuff: don't cheat, don't steal, don't think you have any rights to any of this stuff in the game. Pretty much.
Yeah, Kreese, any thoughts on terms of service?
I'm pretty much of the same opinion. Like, I didn't know this would be a big issue.
Apparently.
It wasn't something I expected. Like, how are you supposed to claim ownership of these digital pieces of information to begin with? They're all stored server side. They're not stored client side. As far as I'm aware, I didn't read the original terms of service, so I am unaware of what was in it and what the difference is this time. The only reason it's being brought to our attention now is because Square Enix asked us to read them again because something changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has actually gone through and checked to see what changed from the old term of service.
I do not know if any of our law student or lawyer listeners have dug through both versions of the terms of service and know what changed. I certainly don't. I did read it all, which is excruciating, but I didn't recognize anything glaringly different. So we'll see. If you know, let us know. Thank you, Dark Demon, for the sub. Thank you, Strafe, for the sub. Check out our friend Strafe. And Zerathi, again, thank you for the 5 gift subs. TXB Gaming, our friend Zeno, check out TXB Gaming on Twitch and YouTube, brings up an excellent point. Don't buy cheap gems from vendors. If you're running an auto clicker, if you're running, if you're trying to get like, black market gems, you can lose your game and everything that you have. If you're breaking your phone, all that kind of stuff. Moomeister, law student, didn't read any of it. But nothing of interest. Moomeister says so. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I butt in. I have heard of people who have been banned from the game before because they did buy illegal gems.
Yeah.
I do know of some people. So
be careful. And again, I don't even like the auto clickers. I know a lot of people use the auto clickers to kind of farm stuff so they don't have to like be on their phone. I'd be careful, especially if you've invested money in the game. Black market gems. It is. Yes, Drez. Welcome to the spicy underworld of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, where you can get your underground gems. It's a thing. Moomeister says, well, maybe the macros are not prohibited through the terms of service. So maybe they aren't. I thought that was a thing. I'd be careful regardless. How do you go about buying black market gems? The Crystal Chronicles podcast does not condone breaking the terms of service. I think we've been clear on that throughout the game. So a couple other things. We did get our trivia campaign rewards, which was 3,000 gems, 5 of each EX orbs, 40 armor tokens, and 40 weapon tokens. Woohoo! Or power tokens. Very, very nice. And we got stream rewards, 4,000 gems, 1 power stone, 20 tickets, and 10 more armor tokens for a total of 7,000 gems, 5 of each EX orb, 50 armor tokens, 40 power tokens, and 1 power stone. Sweet. Very cool. Love it. Appreciate it. More free stuff. Always welcome. We also have these main scenario interlude. They are text stories that give you a little insight into what's happening between Act 2 and Act 3, which will go live in a few days. Act 3, Chapter 1, Part 1 here in a few days. So you can go. They are in, if I jump over to, if you haven't even noticed, if I jump over to gameplay here, and you go to just your normal information mode, and you can scroll down, and where is it? The interludes. They're in here, right? They're in here somewhere.
There's like main scenario interlude chapter 4, chapter 5 is right at the top.
They're all blue. So blue notices. Yeah, we just got a new one.
You're skimming past a bunch of them.
Main scenario interlude 5. Act 3 begins in 3 days. Read the interlude. God of Spirit, a regretful deity. And you can see these beautiful pictures, and you can read a story. And I don't like reading, so I have read them. Hype Train, thank you all for the subs. Appreciate it. Arrow, have you read the stories? Are you planning to record them and do special voices? What are your thoughts on these little stories?
I like them, even though they are mostly just a recap. I kind of wish they were like, at least they had done it like in game, kind of like how the cutscenes are already done and then did the same like narration and everything. I feel it's just a little too lazy just being notices. But otherwise, I don't have many complaints. And yes, I am recording them daily right now. And once they are all complete,
Ooh.
I will upload it as one big video and put in, what is it called? Timers, I guess, in the YouTube description to go to each one.
There you go. So you can look forward to that. Arrow will be reading those to you like a bedtime story. So you can put that on before you go to bed, fall asleep to the soothing sound of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia writing. Some of the best storytelling in modern game history, that's for sure. Kreese, any thoughts on whatever this content is?
I've been ignoring it completely.
Yeah, that's
So
that's what most people are doing.
yeah, I appreciate the effort that's gone into it and translating all that text and giving it to us, but I have been so busy and so swamped for time that I don't have time to read it, so I've been ignoring it.
At the moment, there are no new costumes, and I don't think there's any new costumes coming this month that we haven't had before. So that's good, considering I spent $160 last month on the game. A little respite from costumes would be nice. So, yeah, John Belmont. That's the full So there are Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 13. You had to like read a whole bunch of things hidden around to kind of get the full story, or you didn't get the full story just from cutscenes alone. So that's not uncommon in Final Fantasy. And yeah, Daniel says maybe Weapon Gloss, maybe another Weapon Gloss this month. Could be. But I probably won't buy it. So you never know. It is possible. So let's talk about the SQEX Community stream. We had that on Monday. SQEX, Joshua, and Glacy sharing their wisdom for the coming month. That started with a special statement, and that statement is written in full on our Discord. You can go to GL News. We have a channel, GL News, and Joshua has written out that statement verbatim as he read it on stream, addressing the Vincent controversy. And so basically, the first part of that statement was, we hear you. We understand some of you are upset. We're looking into ways to maybe something, but we don't have any information at this moment. The second part of it was, stop being dicks. That's not nice. So personally, I thought, fine, that's a very good PR move. I thought maybe, it would have been better if he just from a person that deals with conflict resolution and has been through all kinds of conflict resolution training, would have probably been a little bit better if he said, we hear you. I'm sorry some of you are disappointed, to acknowledge that some people are upset. But they did. He did. And good on them, for acknowledging that and saying, okay, we hear you. That may not mean anything. They may not do anything with that. But there was some stuff that went around that they were getting death threats. Joshua has debunked that. They have not received death threats or anything like that. Be careful about what kind of sources you go to and what you hear. But certainly people were very, very worked up about the Vincent. We talked about that last week in a little bit of detail. So I thought Joshua did what he needed to do. Maybe there's some chance for, Vincent to be retuned here in the next how many ever months before he does come back in the timeline. Arrow, any thoughts on that statement or the whole mess surrounding it?
I'm really surprised it happened. But, I understand, and I think Joshua did a good PR move there. So whether we get something or not doesn't really matter to me. I just didn't even expect it. That's all. I don't know. I don't have any other thoughts. I kind of moved on from Vincent. I just feel bad for anyone who expected more and didn't get it. It's kind of like your expectations being dashed a little bit. But if you're sad, you're a player and you're satisfied with them, thumbs up. Kreese?
I have not heard the statement that Joshua made, and I again was not on the side of angry for Vincent last week. I understood that he was not very good, but I pulled for him anyways. So I've been so busy lately. I've been distant from all of the Vincent controversy. And I had to have it explained to me just how angry the community was.
Yeah.
So I guess it does make a lot of sense that people were upset. I'm disappointed that Joshua felt it was necessary that he had to make a statement in the first place, and he had to talk about it. That he felt it was necessary for the community stream, that he had to spend time on it. But it is what it is. Hopefully that's enough to placate some people. We'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, the
My
Emerald...
hope is that this will help guide the developers that are working on the global side for future LD firsts or global first LDs, so that they don't do something like this and give us kind of lukewarm LDs. Because again, I think we all agreed Vivi was a really strong LD when it arrived. Balthier and Vincent have been much more hit or miss, with Vincent much more on the miss end as far as power goes.
Yeah, Emerald Bard says, funny how Vincent's getting the controversy when Balthier is just as guilty just for his Abyss event. Yes, and that Abyss event, very difficult without Balthier. It is possible, as the TCC Challenge has proven, but not a lot of other options. But thankfully, you didn't have to have his LD to make that happen. But Balthier was also good, and everybody pulled on him and seems to be fairly happy with him. I saw a lot of Balthier clears in Tier 20 and also here in Boss Rush as well. So Balthier is getting his money work. On the other end of that, you don't always have to like what you get. This is a service. The game is not... It's not free. Some of you don't pay any money for it, but some of us do. Like I just said, I spent $160 on the game last month. That's a significant amount of money in my book for a mobile game. Certainly won't do that every month. That was a huge exception. But, I mean, $35 to $75 is not unreasonable a month for me to spend in this game. And if I'm going to spend that, there are certain expectations. And if I don't get the expectations, I can say that I'm unhappy about it, and I can say, hey, I would like to see the game go this way, or I can stop money. Mino says, yeah, a GIF would be free, guaranteed Vincent LD. Yes, if everyone got a complete kit, free character, free LD, free VT, then no, you shut up and you take it and you say thank you. I'm not complaining about the 7,000 gems we got. Thank you. That's great. I appreciate that. I wish it was 10,000 gems. No, that's ridiculous. Thank you. 7,000 gems is wonderful. I really appreciate that. But when you pull for a character, when you use resources for a character, when you spend $36 on their costume or $12 on their gun, you want them to be good, and if they don't meet your expectations, you can, in a respectful way, say, hey, this character's shit, and I don't like that. Next time, do better, or I'm not going to spend money on the game. That's appropriate. You get to do that. You can be ungrateful. Now, I think as a human being, it's good to adopt an attitude of gratitude just for a healthy lifestyle. But if I go to a fancy steakhouse and they serve me a burnt piece of steak, I'm going to send it back, right? Because that's not what I want. I can burn steak at my own house for very inexpensive, or just eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's. Same difference, and much, much cheaper. So, there are people who send food at restaurants who are just asses. Yes, I get it too. But yeah, no, I mean, at some point, there's a way to communicate respectfully, and feeling like sometimes the teams on these games like, well, why aren't you just happy? We're doing all of this for you. Well, this is your job. We pay you. There's a relationship. You do good, we pay you more. I mean, that's how it works. It's a business. So yeah. And I know with Vincent, it's not some people are enjoying him, some people aren't. That's how it goes. So, But we did get some additional news from the stream, some quality of life that have already been added. There's basically 2 quality of lives that have been added to the game. The additional co-op option called Either. So if you press Either, it will first search for a co-op room, and if it does not find one, it will automatically host a room, and then start a hosting automatically. And then there's Sort by Acquired or Not Acquired Passives. This is used, just if I go back into gameplay, this is used in the token shops. So if I go to, let's go to the Power Token Exchange where you get your weapons, and I search, right now I have it filtered, filter, how do I read it here? Passive not yet acquired, passive acquired. So there was my Apple bill. So there's that $160. Speaking of the devil, good timing. So these are the weapons whose passives I have not acquired, or that are not limit broke. Now you see I own some of them. I own trays, but it's not limit broke. I don't own Lions 35. So I mean that's really, really helpful. When you're looking at your armor, when you're looking at other things, to see, okay, what do I have? What don't I have? So those 2 quality of lives. I did try the co-op room as well. It seems to work fine. Arrow, any thoughts about these quality of life upgrades?
Like the new one with the Either option, that new co-op thing, because it means that it's easier for book spamming. So like you don't have that problem where before, like, you waste time trying to guest. Sometimes it's just faster to host. And I appreciate that change the most out of all of them. Honestly, I don't worry too much on that weapon passive thing. I didn't even understand how it worked until you just explained it, Mark. Chris?
I have not had a chance to try out the co-op change yet. I'm appreciate it because I have had problems where I didn't know whether I should be hosting because there weren't enough people hosting at the time, or if I should just be guesting and burning my bells there. So definitely appreciate just being able to say, I don't care. I'll host if needed, or I'll guest if elsewise. So definitely happy to just do either. Definitely happy to do that. I like the Either option. It is a great addition to the game. It fixes that problem of being in a position where I'm like, I don't care. I just want to burn 5 bells, run 5 co-ops for the day, and be done. I like that. I like that change a lot.
See, devs, good work. That was a good one. We appreciate you. We're very grateful for this quality of life. See how that works? It's reciprocal. Give us things we like, and we'll tell you that we like them. Give us things that are crap, and we'll tell you that they're crap. We're just honest. We're just good communicators. Well, we did also get the calendar of events, and we'll go over that quickly at the end of the show. A couple things I want to note, at least on the calendar of events, is the Act 3 opening campaign, which will have limited time event missions for guard tokens and Fragments of Ruins mystery books, weapon books, and a limited time chocobo panel with EX power tokens. So those are the ones that allow you to get EX weapons. At the same time, that starts March 1st. At the same time, there is a 9 million downloads campaign. So there have been 9 million downloads between the JP version of the game and the global version of the game. This will be a 8-day login time. Log in any 8 days between March 1st and March 12th, and you get 1,000 gems for the first 7 days and 2,000 gems on day 8 for a total of 9,000 additional gems. Awesome. 9,000 gems, that's almost 2 multis. Very, very cool. There's also going to be, from March 1st to March 31st, new hunt permits for limited time Act 3 missions, exchange for up to 99 draw tickets. So more free draw tickets, Mino's favorite thing in the world. So cool, great, awesome. Always love that kind of stuff. Arrow, any other thoughts about the SQEX mobile stream or the upcoming month?
Yes, one thing we almost forgot to mention is Glacey's departure.
Oh, yes, thank you.
EFO. Yes, did you want to talk about that, Mark?
No, please, if you want to just share, that would be fine.
Oh yeah, no worries. So with Glacy, she is still going to be kind of around in the community, but she's not going to be really active anymore. So guys, she's going to be she's got a lot of other games she works on. She's not like leaving SQEX. She's just not going to be Joshua's kind of taking over, I guess, is the best way to say it for now. She might still lurk around the community. She might show up on streams. But yes, she's mostly, unfortunately, departing from DissidiaFFOO.
Yeah, and I mean, to my, not to diminish anything Glacy has done for the community, but I mean, Joshua has kind of always been our primary community manager. Glacy has always been there assisting him because she's had focused on other games. I think Kingdom Hearts Union was one of them. I think she worked on Star Amnesis or whatever that is. There are several other games that Glacy has worked on. But so for right now, yeah, Joshua is going to continue to be our rep. Glacy still works for SQEX, just going to be on some other projects, as obviously there are some things in the pipeline coming down. I don't know if that means that Joshua will have some other help on the SQEX community stream, campaign for Rachel to come back, or I'm really hoping that maybe they can get the Ope girls to come, women to come on the show. I always enjoy watching the two of them. I don't ever know what they're talking about, but they seem to be having a good time. So if he can figure that out, and the two of them, they can even just speak in Japanese. I don't care. Just to add some personality to the stream, I think would be a lot of fun. Theologica says, "Am I secretly the next co-host?" If Joshua needs my help, no, unfortunately. At the time that the SQEX Community mobile stream happens, I am usually picking up my children from school, so it's not Moonmeister. I hope Glacy leaving isn't an indication of SQEX prioritizing OO less. It was never my impression that she was spending a lot of time on the game, so I don't think so, but I don't know. I can't speak to anything. So Hero Soge King says they don't really talk. They just kind of react to the guy explaining things. And so we have a guy who explains things and they could react to it. So it seems like a really good opportunity. Bridge the JP global community really well there. I'm just throwing it out there, Joshua. Kreese, any other thoughts? I don't think you caught the SQEX mobile stream, but any other thoughts? I missed the stream.
I did not know about this until you mentioned it right now.
Yes, they did share that at the end of the stream. Yes. So, but
yeah, I was not aware of it until you just mentioned it, so yeah. I don't really have much to say.
So last week we did talk about Dimensions and Entropy Tier 20. We walked you through that fight as my Discord exploded. It was a little kind of a weird ending to the show. I apologize. I don't know what happened, but we are now complete. So you can see here on my my screen, I brought Lightning Warrior of Light and Cryo because.
Oh, Mark, I kind of know what happened.
Oh, what happened?
It was a regional Discord outage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For your area because I talked to a couple other people who also lost Discord connections that are in your region.
Oh, yeah, because
US.
So yeah, I can set. So we record. We're talking to each other on Discord through Discord voice channel for those of you listening online, and I can set what region I'm in. So I have a Midwestern setting, and so if the Midwestern region went off, that would make sense. That Kreese and Arrow, it would be. Hey, thank you CSDX for the subscription.
It was specifically where you live. It was your region.
Awesome.
Could not connect to Discord at all for like 30 or 40 minutes.
No, I could not. Right? Yeah, that was 100% true.
So yeah, I spoke to other people who had the exact same issue as you.
Yeah, so you can see looking at my screen. Thank you for that. That's good. That I got tired of trying to run Vincent through without Lightning, and so just brought Lightning without her BT, Warrior of Light without his BT, and Cryo without her BT either, but with all their LDs, and was able to do Dimensions 1020 just fine without BTs. If you have one of those BTs, a lot easier. Arrow, who did you bring? I have a feeling maybe you brought Guy.
I totally did. I brought Firion, Guy, and Jack,
yeah.
And it was a blast. I had a lot of fun. Jack is he was pretty good on that stage, especially with that enchanter in tow. And then like it was really funny because we'll get to the phases, but the Brave Gain phase was absolutely hilarious because like when he would use his EX, he would get like 100,000 Brave, and it's like you can't even hold that much Brave in this team. What are you doing? It was just fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, everybody in chat, you don't have Cryos BT. You didn't pick that up. Yeah, no, that was a joke. We did go through. I did go through the entire fight last week. So if you want to add anything, Arrow, into things you noticed, you did bring, I think, kind of the second really good team with Guy and Furion and Jack there. I think that was a really solid option for your defensive, your offensive, your support power there. So anything you noticed in terms of juggling the waves and the phases of Wave 2 you wanted to share?
Oh, wow. Okay, so the Brave Gain phase, I hate that phase, man. Like, your damage. Okay, so I had Jack's debuff up, guys. I have Elemental Enchant. I have all the bazillion auras, going on here. And, like, the Brave damage I would deal was, like, 2,000, 3,000 per hit. That's insane to me, like, how low it would go. It went from, like, 6,000, 8,000, 9,000, you know what I mean? Like all those high numbers. And it was down to like nothing in that phase. And it's just, it seems like every team's going to have one phase. They probably are a little weakened. And it's just like, you got to play around with that. And of course, that's what calls are for, guys. Or, whatever. And the other phase that I found tricky and I had to BT for was that phase 4, because if the boss even gets a turn, that's game over.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like how like Odin would set your HP to 0, or like a Lufinia orb would set an HP to 0. So yeah, those two phases to me were kind of scary. Otherwise, I didn't mind the fight. I thought it was cool. I like that it emphasized all kinds of like different fights we see in default anyway. So like you have phases where you have to deal with what the boss is doing. There's no delaying him and things. And then in the second half, it's, don't let the boss play at all. That's cool. I kind of like that. It felt really like it catered to all kinds of play styles. That's my impressions. I'm also very sad Dimensions End Entropy is over. It just really feels like the end of an era, like something that's really been in our game for a really long time. I'm going to miss, us talking every month about building teams for the tower. Thankfully, we have lots of new players always coming, and it's always fun discussing teams for the tower, guys. So that at least will not be an end. And then, of course, my last note is the new Dimensions End. We are getting, they are, what did I don't remember what they're calling it. Oh man, that ran over my head. But it's not going to be quite as open-ended, and that's because of the nature of Lufinia orbs, unfortunately. So I'm very sad, but at the same time, I'm excited to see what may come in the future with the new Dimensions End to come. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Kreese?
I was attempting to do this right before we recorded because I am still behind on content. It's been a very busy week for me. I failed, so I am going to take another stab at it with a better roster later. I do not have much else to say on it right now.
Yeah,
it's been a fun ride. I enjoyed Dimensions End Entropy a lot. I've had hiccups along the way. On the initial start, I think I got stuck at the 3rd tier for the first month or two. Then I was stuck at tier 5 for a little while. And then I was kind of able to get caught up pretty quickly, and I've been able to stay caught up most of the way. So I've been able to do pretty well. And that's all I pretty much have to say at the moment on my thoughts on Dimensions End. I've enjoyed it for what it was, with only a couple hiccups here and there where I just would get stuck, pretty much.
Does anybody know, does anybody in chat, I don't have it in my notes here, does anybody in chat know when Dimensions End Tier 1 through 5 previewed? It'd probably be about a year ago, I would think. I don't think I have them. I don't keep track of that in my notes usually, so... but yeah, I mean, we've been doing it. Hey, Retro Gamer Dad. We've been doing it for over a year, 16 months, every 3 weeks or so, sometimes once a month, sometimes every 3 weeks. So yeah, I mean, it's been a big part of the game. If you have 3 characters on every tier, it's 60 characters. Obviously, you can solo or duo quite a few of the tiers now. A lot of us have been doing it tier to tier, month to month. A lot of people are catching up, though. Of course, you have a few weeks to continue to try to get as many of the rewards as you can. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of people that are just that are afraid to like go into, even people who are completing Lufanias. I've just joined in streams and doing everything else where people are like, oh, I just did the Lufania, but no, I haven't even started Dimensions and Entropy. You know, the first few tiers of Dimensions and Entropy with LD characters is a joke. I've rerun some of them to unlock these characters. So believe me, just try and get as far as you can. Go to, our friend at Opera Omnia Tracker, OO Tracker, fill in your teams, come on our Discord, tccpodcast.com. We'll help you. We have a strategy channel, DeFo strategy channel, and there are people there that love to do this. It's something that they like to do in the downtime, help other people through it. So, but yeah, please do it. Arrow just shared the link, ootracker.com. Fill in your team so we know who you have. And yeah, come in and don't be afraid, so you can get, if you can get tier 13 rewards, great. If you can get tier 18 rewards, great. If you can get all 20, great. You don't necessarily want to pull and do everything else to get a few extra gems, but if you can do it, why not take advantage of it? And there is a lot of tiers that now with these much more powerful characters, those characters can solo or at least duo. So yeah, there's there, and you don't need all LD characters, 3 LD characters on every tier. We were running with unrealized DXs on a lot of these tiers. So believe me, if you've been playing for a while now, a few months now, you should be getting into Dimensions on Entropy and really, or if you're still struggling on Pathos, come in and we can help you out there as well. So yes, we say goodbye to Dimensions and Entropy, and we will say hello to Dimensions and Transcendence. Is that what we're calling it in? Dimensions and Transcendence is the actual name that was confirmed on the stream. So Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 1 will be a very different type of Dimensions End, where you all have 3 different stages, and you have to do a left stage and a right stage, and then from the left stage and right stage, you bring 3 of those characters to the final stage or the center node, So it will be a little different, a little harder. Burst allows you to have synergy, so it's a whole thing. It does definitely help. Characters are locked also. Yes, Daniel, thank you. But we'll talk much more about Transcendence when we get there, because we're going to have some weeks here with some things to talk. And maybe, maybe one of our JP vets would come on and talk a little bit more about Transcendence. Talking to you, Black Cloud, if you're listening. So, all right. Well, we also got new content a couple days ago. Last night, was it just last night, or 2 nights ago? When did we get last night? I don't remember. It was last night, and it was Boss Rush 2, one of my favorite types of content in the game. And with Boss Rush, say that 5 times fast. Boss Rush. We got Hope's level 80 and LD. So, Kreese, we know Hope didn't get his mom back, but what did he get with his LD?
Well, Hope didn't get a huge amount with his LD. It wasn't like a huge overhaul this time. So, few things. What Hope's LD brought him was a new ability. It's a pretty nice ability, though. It's a really nice ability. So, it is called Purification, and it does a few things for him. It gives him a on-demand party heal that isn't tied to his EX. It's also a party heal that is independent of how much HP damage he deals, which is very nice, too. It's a big burst heal. It can overflow above max HP. It does big damage to enemy party. It's split damage. And it batteries the party based on HP damage dealt. And then it applies a new debuff called D-Shell to all targets for 6 turns. The debuff, while applied, applies magic resist down, which I believe is new. I don't think there is a magic resist down
Correct.
that exists in the game,
Correct.
which basically reduces enemies' vulnerability to magic attacks. And it also just increases brave damage taken. So those two things makes it so that it's easier for you to hurt things that are resistant to magic. However, at relevant difficulties right now, nothing is just resistant to magic.
Right.
They are highly resistant to magic, which means the only way this is going to be helpful is if things have neutral resistance to magic and you are not bringing in elemental, imperiler / enchanter. So the magic resist down isn't very great. The brave damage taken boost is nice. So keep that in mind, that the magic resist down impact is kind of niche. It will work for some teams, not many. It really depends on who you're bringing and who you are not bringing to a team. Other than that, his kit's the same. It's exactly the same. Not much to say there. He's still an all-around decent character. He hogs a lot of buff slots, and he needs those buff slots to stay occupied so that he's at full power. Because if he does not have enough buff slots active on the party, he does not have his entrusted hope of effect at full power. Someone in chat is asking if his magic imperil is affected by the upcoming imperil immune
That
enemies.
I do not know. That's a
I
good
do not
question.
know.
That's a good question.
I do not know whether Hope's D shell is affected by that. We'll have to ask someone else. So Hope's kit, other than that, is pretty simple and straightforward. Note that right now there is a glitch where Hope's one of Hope's EX passives is working strangely and granting a much stronger attack buff to the party than it should. So for now, it is giving the party a 100% attack bonus rather than a let's see, it should be an 80% attack bonus, I believe.
Yep.
So it is much larger than it should be. I do not know when or if this will be fixed, but just note that glitch is currently active. Hope is currently a very big party attack booster. For now.
He is very, very big. 120% is real big.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, but still, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, unintentionally, very large attack boost for the party.
And Infamous Element says that the Hope's special debuff does bypass imperil immunity. And so, and realize, I mean, obviously we have Ultimecia right now. We're going to have some pretty big non-elemental magic damage dealers coming in the characters of Emperor, Terra. You know, we're having some pretty big non-elemental magic damage dealers coming, and so that magic imperil gives them weakness damage on top of the brave. So I wouldn't underestimate it, but you know, obviously it's not the most broken thing in the world. And there, to this point in Japan, there's no other character with magic imperil. So
yeah.
Yep.
Again, it has a niche. I won't downplay that, but again, if you're going for an imperil type of build, you're probably going to bring in an elemental enchanter imperiler, except for those few cases where you're dealing with a boss that is actually immune to imperil effects.
Yep.
In which case, if you're building a pure magic team, you can bring Hope to work around it. The problem is that a lot of characters that are pure magic, with very few exceptions now, are leaning more and more into their elements, so it's going to be hard to build for pure neutral magic going forward. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's what I have to say about Hope. He's very simple. He's pretty straightforward. He does not require a lot of thought on how to play. You push buttons, you win. Just make sure you don't burn through his buttons too fast. He is pretty straightforward. There you go. What are your thoughts on him, Arrow?
just wanted to point out, since some people in chat did, I did want to remind everybody on the show as well that when you do call in Hope, he can use his buff extension effect, so it will trigger on the buffs that it can be applied to. There are very few exceptions to that. So if you are into buff extension shenanigans, this is actually our first character that can take advantage of it. So you call him, he'll extend all your buffs that can be extended, and you can do it again later with the other call. So as long as you're refreshing the buffs. So that's a pretty big deal. If you're really into that, that's maybe a good reason to try ticketing for him. I don't think we get another chance until Yuna for another option in that realm. And I know Hope's been reprinted on JP, but you're going to be stuck waiting a while either way for Yuna or him to come back if you don't do it now. Anyway, so,
that is an interesting point that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, and I think Saz is coming back with level 80, but then you can only do it once with Saz.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, that's all I got to really say. Hope's very easy character. If you want an easy character in your roster that just does his job and does it right, does it easy, Hope's your guy. You can't go wrong. I always said that about him, and that's all I got for him. Mark?
Yeah, at Pocket Joker says, what does Hope call all of his selfies? Family photos. That was for all you podcast listeners. That's my favorite part of Final Fantasy 13, the ending scene, which I won't go into because I've already gotten in trouble several times for spoiling that. But man, it's great. Anyway, oh, don't send all your email to Mino. Yes, we know his dad's alive. It's dumb postscript. Prove it. It wasn't in the game. The buff extension, I mean, there's a few characters who can take advantage of that. Most notably right now, Gladio. You can extend Gladio's special LD buff by one turn twice with Hope's both his regular and his LD call. So, that's 2 extra turns of counterattacks, which is nice. There's a couple other characters that are now and coming. Alice, and who else? Alice is a good one, right? Zarathe saying Alice, that is a really good one actually. Although I mean, you can have Hope on your team with Alice. Oh no, I guess that wouldn't help too much because she's elemental. But Rem too, right? Yeah, but anybody with that 1-2 turn. 1-2 turn twins BT in 9 or 10 months. Zale, because it was just announced in JP like yesterday. So we gotta wait a while. But yeah, there's Vayne. Yep, Vayne BT. So the Hope Vayne extension was big. I don't think we're gonna be using Vayne for a while, but yeah, one of the things I want to point out with Hope is, so it was not long ago that Hope got his EX realization, and so he didn't need much. And again, that was one of the differences between, Vincent was the oldest of the 3 GL firsts we got. He needed a lot more than Vivi did, or than Hope did, or than even Balthier did. So, CSAM saying Hope call every time I run Gladio now. Yeah, of course, why not? 2 more turns of his 2 more turns of his LD buff is amazing. So yeah, Hope's good. I got him. I used him. Remember to pick up, if you do use him and like him, pick up his World of Illusion weapon. It buffs his attack by 10% and max brave by 20%. And you can get that in the weapon tokens store, and even it's only 10 weapon tokens each, power tokens each. So, you can use 40. We just got 40 and fully MLB it if you don't have the power stones. And it is a nice little extra boost to his attack as well. That does bring us to, let's do podcast polls before we go here. Podcast polls across 13 servers. Let me make sure it's updated. Across 13 servers, 3 people willing to pity Ultimisha's BT. It was the last time to do that if you really wanted it. 20 pitying the LD, 22 using gems, 189 using tickets. Wow. And 60 skipping. So that's the podcast polls. Thank you to Quetzalma of MateriaBot, and thank you to the MateriaBot for being able to do that. A lot of people investing in Hope. So Hope, you did well. You can check out my Hope LD polls. Arrow, do you have a poll video for Hope, or you didn't? You just did one, right?
Just did the 3, and then
Yep.
I'm skipping onions
So-
really soon. I'm hyped.
So you can always check out my poll video on there, talk a little bit more about that, and let me know how your polls went on that video. Happy to hear it there. So I think we could all use a little hope after the last year, Sarathi says. That was a very encouraging hope pun, unlike most of mine, which are just as discouraging as Hope's life. So we also got a co-op for... Kreese loves my Hope jokes. We also got a co-op. Oh, there are some known issues. App closes unexpectedly after clearing last wave of the golden cactars. Oh, watch out. Japanese text appearing on event page after changing to the next party in boss rush.
Oh no.
Watch out for those known issues, folks. I'm sure they will be addressed soon, but I just got the pop-up for that. There is a co-op. In the co-op, you do the 2 flying things, and it's a pretty tanky co-op. So be a little more careful. If you are bringing Ultimecia, Jack, Cryo, Hope, Cloud of Darkness, Shadow, is that synergy? Did I forget somebody?
Sounds like you got them all.
Cryo, Hope, Ultimecia,
Hope,
Jack,
Ultimecia,
Shadow, Cloud of Darkness.
Shadow.
So if you
Yeah,
are
Yeah, that's them all.
if you are bringing Ultimecia, burst, like that's fine, because these things can do damage and they can kill you, especially if you're not very good, and your teammates aren't paying attention. So this is a little bit more of a meaty Cosmos co-op, so make sure that you are paying attention to that. The boss rush is a 3-wave. I'm going to talk about, of course, boss rush is content where you bring multiple teams. You have a timer that counts down every action you take, including AAs, including calls. It does not tick down on bursts and summons. And you have 3 teams to get all of their rewards. There's a level 100, level 150, and a level 200, or Lufania. The Lufania is 4 waves, excuse me. The first wave is 2 Lufania Sand Krakens. Let me go over to the game so you can see this. And they do have a Lufania orb that counts up when they take lightning damage, so you want lightning damage for that one. Tier or wave 2 is 2 Sam 08Gs, and they do not have Lufania orbs. There's the kind of weird looking robot things. The Swarm Fly also has a Lufania orb, and it has 2 adds that it can summon. It is highly resistant to melee. It has to be sapped to take damage to have its orb tick up. And then the final wave, wave 4, is the Heavy Gunners. They are heavily resistant to earth, melee, and ranged. They are immune to attack down, speed down, and blind. And they also need to take brave damage, have their brave damage reduced by a buff or the sap effect to have their Lufania orb tick up. They also have a couple other things. They have the release function, which increases the brave damage they deal, so they're kind of deadly after that. They also then go into repair, and so repair nullifies a certain amount of brave damage, cannot be delayed, they cannot be afflicted with debuffs, and cannot be knocked back for 1 turn, and then they lose that mode, so they have to take an action. So the Lufania orbs are really only problematic if you do not bring somebody to do that. So basically, if you don't give them turns and they don't take sap damage. Now, Ultimecia can do it. Shantoto can do it. Kefka can do it. There's a lot of different characters. You can bring a number of characters with Thancred or Ferris E-spheres, refined E-spheres that can deal with it fine. But again, they just have to take turns. Or you can bring calls for several of these characters as well. Beatrix, Infamous Element is saying there's tons of different. Oh, they have shields too. Daniel is saying yes. There's a shield phase as well. The nice thing is, you can bring 3 teams. It is more than possible, depending on who you have, to do it with 2 teams. So, but you can bring 3 teams. You don't get extra rewards for bringing 2 teams. So you have 3 teams, and you have full synergy. In the Japanese version of the game, they did not have this. You can see the glowing aura around Ultimecia. That means if you bring 1 synergy character, the entire party gets synergy. So Ultimecia, Jack, Kryl, Hope, all excellent characters. Yes, Shadow, Cloud of Darkness are options as well. They all are basically super synergy. They make the entire party synergy. You can burst once per team. You can summon once per team. You need to use different summons per team, but you can use the same calls on every team, assuming the character's not there. So we have a lot more call options. I think the wave 1, the kind of the easy team, the easy clap team on the first team is Kryl, Gladio. I brought Gao, which is not the easy one, but Furion. If you bring Furion, Gladio, Kryl, they're doing lightning damage. They're you bring Jack Call on every single team. That's why you pulled for Jack Call, right? To use him all the time. But yeah, Kryl's doing the lightning damage. Gladio, Furion doing the off-turn damage. You can really abuse that. They can actually get into wave 4 or wave 3 easily, I think. If you have Furion's burst, that's going to help you a lot. Wave 2, I brought Hope, Kuja, and Jack. Jack's not, I don't think, real ideal here because he eats up a lot of turrets. But Ultimecia with her burst, obviously. Ultimecia, Hope, and maybe an enchanter like Kuja, or another type of enchanter. I think I've seen people use Garnet. I've seen people use Guy. I've seen people use all kinds of different things. So it is fine. I actually, with those 2 teams, I didn't have enough to kill them. The bosses were down to like 5 HP. I ran out of turns. And so I brought Ultimecia, Shantoto, and Ramza for my 3rd team and killed them with the first turn with Shantoto's burst. So it was fine. But it is really easy to get to the 2 teams. You can go to our friend. Shout out to the Tonberry Troupe if you want to check out Hope's infographic, tonberrytroupe.com, and all their good resources. Thank you for them and the good work they do as well. Thank you for Dreamy. Dreamy and Rem, I know, worked on figuring out those weird potencies with Hope, and maybe somebody else as well worked on that. So thank you to them for that. But our friend Macnell at DissidiaFFOO does have a call to arms for the Garden of Despair, so you can submit your teams. And again, there's a lot of 2-team clears. In a lot of different options. So, Arrow, how did you approach this content?
I am not a 2-team person. I am a 3-team winner, though. My first team was Furion, Kryl, and Balthier, which made it partway through wave 3. And then my second team happened to be Warrior of Light, Jack, and Garnet. They wrapped up wave 3 for me and did a lot of the work in wave 4. So then I just had to wrap things up, and I just picked Kuja, Root, and 9. Now, I did want 9 in Team 2, but I swear that boss takes forever to summon its ads, the little bug boss. Yeah. So 9 was absolutely awful against one target. Guys, don't ever take 9 to a one-target fight. He's pretty hot garbage in those situations. He just doesn't do any damage, and he can't keep his shields really going or anything like that. So anyway, I don't want to rant on that. But I didn't find it too bad. I used X Death Call, by the way, to help me with the third wave. So I had that on Jack, and man, that thing was handy. I beat that boss. I just went and took all the turns I wanted, and then the boss has to get a turn now, and just let him have a turn, and then it was easy. And then I love that the last wave has a lot of great options for people if they should want to use them if they don't pull Hope. So thankfully we have Desh. I think people were using Beatrix. You got what's his name? Warrior of Light. And you got 9. I love that. I like that an orb was easygoing enough to give us a lot of options, especially since this was supposed to be Hope's event, because this is what dropped. His LB was new.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Boss Rush. Again, I think this was quite a bit easier for us because we had the super synergy, which JP didn't have. But do remember, you can use 3 teams and get all the rewards. You don't have to clear it in 2 teams. That gives you a lot of flexibility. You still have to make the HP requirement. You still need to watch out for the orbs and some of the other mechanics, but really mostly the orbs. I think once that, you can get around a lot of the other mechanics. If you have 3 bursts, Black Cloud has a nice video on it. If you Black Nero on YouTube, he suggests if you have 3 bursts, bring a burst to every phase because that's free turns you get. So, Jovial Rogers asking, does Warrior of Light Sphere count towards the Wave 4 orb? That is a good question. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I'm not even sure that I know. Yeah, it's not on a buff. Okay, so that could be, but yeah, I think Thancred and Spherospheres work. So, yeah, but if someone wants to test that out and get back to us, that would be great. I do not know. Well, good luck. If you're having trouble with that, again, jump on our Discord, tccpodcast.com for all those links, or in our show notes, and we'll help you out. But I think it's a lot of fun. Looking forward to future boss rushes. I think it's just neat content. Doesn't take too long, but you can be a little creative with it and have a little fun. Do it a couple times if you want to. It's one of the it's some content that I'm more interested in doing multiple times, very truthfully, than some other content. So. Yeah, I enjoy it. Well, Crease, we're a little backed up on questions. So did you want to delve into some podcast questions for a little bit before we end tonight?
Yeah, I've been so tired. I haven't really been looking through them. Here is one that here's one that I want to answer just because I think it'd be curious, or I think we might have some interesting stories for them. So I'm not answering them in any particular order. Sorry, everyone. Squeegee asks, where do the co-hosts' names come from? For the co-hosts who have changed screen names, what prompted the change? So Squeegee, this is it probably in relation. So for me, I use Zaring. Crease, Arrow uses Laylee Arrow, and Mark, you're just Mark. So for me, the reason I've used both Zaring and Crease in the community is for simple reason. On Discord, my name is Crease, and on Reddit, my name is Zaring. The reason for that is simple. I could not get Crease on Reddit. It's as simple as that. Zaring is a much more complex name. It is a much less common name. So in communities where I cannot get Crease, I get Zaring. Crease is a name that I have a long history of using. I've been using it as an alias for over a decade now. Crease is an alias I made up, or I thought I'd made up. Apparently, it's the German word for chaos, is what I was told by a German friend of mine. I didn't know that when I started using it, but I started using it as a roleplay character back when I was a teenager, just because I thought it sounded cool. And after a while, I just started taking it as an alias, rather than just using it as a roleplay character's name. Zaring comes from a spin on a character's name that became an alias too. Zaring was a character name I used for a little while. That was a riff on another character's name. So I had a character that I play for WoW named Krine, Krine. And when it was time to make a new character, I wanted to riff on that name, and I decided to go, because I was into Kingdom Hearts at the time, I went with the Organization 13 naming scheme, where I scrambled the names, added an X, and found something cool, and I went with Zaring. So that's the Zaring name. It's Krine X scrambled.
Oh,
that's it.
The more you know.
So that's the origins of my names.
Yeah. Mark comes from Markos, which is Greek. That means anointed to the god of Mars, or the god of war, also known as Ares in the Roman theology or pantheon. So that's where my name comes from. That is actually my real name. So Era, where's your name come from?
So my YouTube name, Lily, is I had a character I made when I was a teenager, and that's just what I named her. I can show pictures of her maybe in supporters chat, because I'm always looking for reasons to showcase things for supporters chat. So I'll do that maybe as this week's special thing. I'll have that up for you guys tomorrow. Number 2, Arale is I had another character that his name is Aranok, and I basically combined that with Lily, and I got Arale. So it's that simple, guys. And I'm okay with that because, older person, it's nice to have like a slightly different name to go by as you go through the years, I guess. So maybe eventually in some other decade, I will go by some new name. Who knows? Maybe this one will stick because I have a YouTube channel now. Anyway, that's pretty much it for that.
Yes, the planets are the Roman. There you go. Yeah, Zeus,
Jeez.
and those are the Greeks. Yes. Yeah, there you go. Mars is a planet. Yeah, Chris.
Okay, we're gonna go through some meme questions.
Sure.
Mino asks, how do you pronounce Doge? D-O-G-E.
Oh, from Final Fantasy 15 or 13?
No, as in the meme word, D-O-G-E.
Oh, I don't know what we're talking about.
Doge.
Okay, there you go.
That's how you pronounce it.
Good.
Doge.
Good conversation.
I agree, it's Doge.
There you go, Mino.
All right.
Okay. Parsnippins asks, who has the best looking weapons in DFFOO?
Best looking weapons. I really like Vincent's LD. I mean, it's not Cerberus. I would have preferred it to be Cerberus. But I like his LD gun. I think that looks really nice. Actually, we were looking at the boys and I were looking at weapon skins, earlier today before dinner. And who was I looking at? That said,
I think
they have
out
really
of
good
their
weapons.
full set of weapons, I think Vayne has the best set of weapons.
Oh, Vayne does have some good weapons. Yeah. We were just looking at a character who was like, oh, they have some really cool weapons.
I think out of the full set, just off the top of my head, I think Vayne has the best set, but I might be mistaken. I could probably be convinced of another character, but just from my own recollection, I recall Vayne, all of his weapons he has really good weapons.
Oh yeah.
Golbez has a good set of weapons
Blartigan.
just because they're all dragons.
Yep. Retro is saying Kuja, Daniel saying Fang.
But, of course, who can forget about Choco Blade?
Oh, Bart.
Come on, guys. Okay, but no, I'm actually being half serious. He does have some pretty good weapon designs. And, man, that burst weapon he's going to later get, that thing is sick looking. It's that little wind sword or whatever. I love that. Okay, anyway, the other character I think who has fabulous weapons is Onion Knight. Those swords are some beauties. I love them. Anyway, those are my 2 picks.
Okay.
Gons says Waka's got great balls, so nice set of balls on him. All right, next question.
This is kind of going off the weapons and looks thing. Necklord asks, with the introduction of silly-looking weapon glosses, and this question is almost a month old, so this is how backlogged we are. How much longer can Square Enix justify denying the player base access to the greatest evil of all? Squalor off. Mark, do you want to field this?
I don't even know what this is a reference to.
It's reference to a meme image. I don't know where it is right now, and I don't know if Necklord is here to help us along.
Like a shirtless squall. I don't know what Squalor off looks like. There were so many meme combos of characters. I don't know. You know what? I think Mino and I have both been very vocal about more costumes, seasonal costumes, holiday costumes, winter costumes. I mean, they can be Japanese seasonal costumes. They can be global season costumes. Doesn't matter to me. They can be winter solstice. They can be, spring holiday. They can be New Year. It doesn't matter. Beach is very common. But the weapon glosses, I've looked at some of the every Zyros, every other gacha does it. Every other gacha does it. The weapon glosses are real silly. Like the current weapon gloss in Japan is a bastard sword that's a snowboard with a chocobo painted on it. It's so ridiculous. It's so bad. Oh, Vane can use oh, that's awesome. Vane with the snowboards. Okay, now I'm gonna buy the stupid snowboards just to use them with Vane.
I hate all these stupid skins. Can they not give us like some just reasonably cool looking ones like that? I like the sunflower and the flower bow they made, but I have not liked any other skins they've made. If they could just make more skins kind of like that, I maybe would not be so down on them. But I hate how stupid and jokish like most of them have been. I'm just sick of it. Come on, give me some more stuff like flower bow and sunflower, please. I just don't want my characters to wear stupid weapons. There's already some stupid weapons in this game, like Waka's balls and Kuja's balls. I mean, and Yuffie's paper crane. Do I really need more of that? No, not really.
Well, if they Retro Gamer Dad, if they start introducing like holiday costumes and hot springs costumes, they better reduce the price to $12. Kreese, is there more questions?
There are plenty of questions. I just don't know if we've answered this one before or not. It seems like one we definitely answered, but I didn't delete it, so I guess we didn't. Shaded Mystic asks, do you think they will ever remove the 50 burst token cap? To which Mino responded, in the channel, stop hoarding.
I don't.
I don't think so.
No. There's no reason for them to do that. They want you to spend them, and be grateful that you even have burst tokens. But don't stop selling your crap. I mean that drives me crazy. People sell their extra burst weapons. Stop it. Don't do it. Stop selling your Moogle tokens until you. I've got 20 Moogle tokens sitting in my inbox. They're not going anywhere. One's got here. This is going to drive some of you freaking crazy. But be okay. They're not hurting anything. They're sitting. I got burst tokens. I actually accidentally claimed one. But look I have a burst token sitting in my inbox. I have 4 Moogle tokens. 32 days left. It's not going anywhere. I got a whole month to think of something. Stop spending, stop trading in everything, and they won't fill up. It's not a problem. And then you spend them, and you can go back. Remember, it's not like, unless you have all the bursts, and if you do, you're super, super lucky. Or you are spending a lot of money on the game. Either way, that's, you did what you did. I have the majority of the bursts, but when I get to 50, which is pretty soon, I can go back. I don't have Warrior of Light. I don't have Ultimecia. I don't have Lightning.
Oh, no.
I may not have Onion Knight. If obviously I'm going to use it on Pestle if I don't get Pestle. So, but make sure that you use them. There's no reason. The 32-day Theologica, 32-day Moogle token is giving me anxiety. I got 32 days. Set your timer. Set a timer in your calendar, and remind me in 32 days. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Illuminasa, we're doing some Q&A. We're coming towards the end. We're still in the podcast, but just doing some Q&A, catching up on questions and answers.
I'm sorry, Whitegraph. This question should have been answered last week, but we had technical issues. Whitegraph asked 2 weeks ago, if you can only have one, Pinello LD, Jack LD, Kryl LD, or Hope LD, which would you choose and why? That's a tricky question. I think I personally would go with Pinello LD, the one I don't have. Why? Because of the utility of it. Getting a debuff cleanse on demand is very strong. Getting a party debuff cleanse on demand right now in this era, I've noticed that when looking back at my roster, that is one thing that my roster currently lacks, is a debuff cleanser. It doesn't come up often, but when it does, it is obnoxious when you cannot deal with that. That's specific for my roster personally, and I am currently lacking Penelo LD, and it has been bothering me that I do not have it. So that's just my personal opinion on which one I would choose if I had to go for one. I've ended up skipping her ultimately, but if I was told I could pick one, just go for it, I would have chosen her.
Arrow?
Ooh, gosh, I'm trying to think who's is more valuable to me right. Well, in the immediate moment, I'm going to be real with you guys. I probably I've used Jack a lot in this month, but to Penelo's defense, I used her call like all the time before her LD dropped, and I still use her call quite a lot. I just haven't found the right place to really use her right now in like my maid party. So it's like I don't know which one to really pick. It would come down to Jack or Penelo for me, and I'm just not sure like who out of those two would be like the more valuable LD because they're both very useful. I'll just flip a coin. Okay, landed on heads. I'll just go with Penelo then because heads comes first and Penelo came first with her LD. So, but honestly, any of these are very good for very different reasons, guys. So I'm just going to pass it over to Mark.
Yeah, I think I said when I was, during my poll videos that all of these characters, Penelo, Jack, Cryle, Hope, even Vincent in there, are useful characters, but characters you can live without. My pick would be Jack just because you're going to continue to use Jack's LD call forever. Although Hope's, Cryle's, Penelo's LD calls are all very useful. It's going to be good to have them all. It's not going to hurt you to have any of them. I think Jack will be the one consistent, though, moving forward. 6-10 months from now, you'll still probably be using Jack's LD call. So at the end of the day, I think Jack's a good pickup. Just for that purpose, a good investment if you have extra resources. If you don't, I think this cycle was a good cycle to skip. I actually think the next cycle is a good cycle to skip as well. The Onion Knight cycle, very truthfully, is a good cycle to skip. So if you're looking to save some resources, I think this was, these are all good pickups. That's why I went tickets on all of them, and I spent 1,000 tickets, almost 834. But I definitely wouldn't be spending gems on this cycle. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, we got a couple more.
Summon Biscuits asks, how do you pronounce pistachios?
Pistachio? Like the nut. Pistachio. Is there different ways to say it?
I could have sworn it's pistachio.
Pistachio.
We went into like a
pistachio. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was more for Mino because it came from one of his streams, and he kind of said it kind of weird, but I swear it's pistachio.
Mino isn't on stream to ask the question. Oh well.
Huh.
Question is answered. All of us generally agree. Okay. Final ASIM asks, a question for Mark and his global first formula. This is before Vincent LD dropped, so we're a little behind on it. So context is before Vincent LD dropped. There is some speculation that it is possible that Vincent LD will be released in a few days. As I said, context. Say if he is released with a BT and an LD. So wait, yeah, I don't know if you want to answer this question. Does the formula change to 120,000 gems mercy if there would be a theoretical BT first?
Well, that's a global. I think, yeah. I mean, I think global BT first. I think that may be a formula worth pitying. The GL first equal pity. That formula no longer holds up. We will have to recount that and say it needs to have further evaluation, given that we've had some kind of hit and miss with GL first. So Now, global first burst might be an exception. Now, the problem with that is, they won't have the 2-week synergy, and that's one of the reasons the burst is so good. So, Illuminasa asks an important question. Why are we so beautiful? Genetics. You can't see Arrow and Crease. They are both very beautiful, inside and out. So, I don't know. It's just luck, I guess. Luck, genetics. Good hair care products, diet, exercise. I mean, you can go back to
we can delete another question that's about Mark's global first equation still valid? We
no,
decided it is
it
not
is
valid
not.
anymore.
It is not. Not at all. Yeah, do not do that. We're running out of BT first options though. There's still quite a few. Actually, there's still quite a few. Now there's a few that don't have characters yet. So if we're not getting a new character, that wouldn't be an option. But there's still a handful of characters, but not many. Yeah, right. I mean, of the current cast who we assume would get LD or BTs, twins have been announced in JP. So they're done releasing Illuminasa. They have said they're not releasing GL first characters anymore. So they may change that. But there's still new characters in the Japanese version of the game, obviously. The newest character is Selkie from Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus, 7 Dirge of Cerberus. So about one new character every month or one every other month. So, yeah. So, yeah, not many. Selk. It's not Selkie, just Selk. Selkie like the walrus or the half the fairy folk, right? Those are Selkies from Crystal Chronicles. Selk. I don't remember. I told you we talked about this character in our Discord. I don't even remember. I played that game to completion and 100% completion. I don't even remember that character, and she did have a very important role in the game. I probably blocked it from my memory because of how offensive the idea is of that particular character. Yeah, Sid Reigns was a new character, so I mean, so those new characters we won't get, but yeah, Zach, Vincent, Sarah, Yuri, potentially Charlotta,
Yuri, please.
there's lots of options. Zyros asks, what are your current counts on LDs collected so far? I am missing 4 LDs. So how many ever we have -4? Arrow, Crease, do you have any idea how many LDs
Sorry, what
you
was
have?
the question?
How many LDs do you have?
A lot.
I have a lot. I have a lot more than I even let on sometimes. So I'll just leave it there.
I do not know how many LDs I have. I have not done a count.
I am missing Desh. I am missing 9. I am missing Guy. I am missing Dark Knight Cecil. I think I have
Wow,
all.
those are all the ones I actually own, and
I will be missing Theodore next month.
Really hope my pulls go well because I kind of want his kit. I think it's really cool and interesting, but I don't know how long he will last. We'll have to see how the Onion and Kai's pulls go with the gems and tickets there. We'll see.
I can tell you, somebody is asking how many LDs there are. I can tell you because I don't sell my LDs. Isn't that really helpful? So I can tell you exactly how many.
That's a good idea. Use the
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 41. So 41 plus 4 is 45. So I think there should be 45 LDs currently. So, no, I don't sell them. Why would I sell them? What purpose would selling them have? Oh, Crease, you got one more question before we close it up today?
There was one. Oh, yeah, it was I thought this would be a good one to wrap up with just based on context of other things we've spoken about. Relating to Vincent, Balthier, and such. Yoshi Pasta asks, so Balthier and Vincent have no LD boards at the moment, which means no LD call abilities. Do you think LD first LDs going forward after these two will have LD boards implemented with them? I think we are probably more likely going forward to see LD boards with LDs for global firsts. I think the feedback is going to be taken to heart. I might be mistaken here, but I suspect that going forward we will see LD call abilities, LD boards. and tweaks like that. It will make the characters probably more palatable, and it will definitely give them a bigger power boost. It'll make them more reasonable compared to other options that are available to draw at the same time. Because it really does stand out when you can pull for Balthier or Vincent and get them, and they are lacking some of those utility options where you get them plus the LD call if they're not in your party, and the stronger LD ability, and all the bells and whistles there. Or you pull on someone else who has the LD call when they're not in the party, so even if you aren't bringing them, you have that additional option there. So it really does stand out the contrast. And I think Mino mentioned that a bit last week when we were chatting.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
So, I mean, it was the difference between, again, Hope just needed an LD and LD boards, didn't need a lot of rework. So, but, if they give us a character that hasn't seen a tuning pass in 2 years and just throw an LD on it, the kit's going to be outdated. And so if you don't have the LD boards to kind of fix some of that, it's going to be noticeable, and the character is going to be a lot harder to use. Clunky was the word I used last week with Vincent. So, I mean, I think that's a problem. So they really need to think about that when they bring a really old, outdated character and just throw on a patch. It may not be worth it. Now, if they bring a character and fully rework them and fully give them boards, it may be too powerful, and so they kind of have to judge it. Now, I think something they could do is 3 months from now, give us Vivi LD boards, give us Balthier LD boards, give us Vincent LD boards, and so then re-release them, give another chance to sell the costumes. It makes good sense for them. They can throw them on another banner. They could throw all 3 of them on a banner, and do some kind of special thing. So, so it would be a benefit for some of us who have already pulled, but it'd also be something that, somebody else could come back and get them and they would still be useful. So I think there's some options there. Arrow, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I kind of think there's like a point you can only go so far back with some of these characters and really make them work. But part of the reason with Balthier is just what he got on his LD is super loaded, where Vincent's a lot more fair, it feels like, but they didn't update his kit enough. I know there's not a lot of characters left to get LDs in JP. They're starting to, that number's starting to dwindle every day, but there are still some kind of popular characters that could have the potential to do decently. So, FF7 Sid is still missing his LD. We have FF5's Lena, who may do decently if she were to come. Who else is there? Oh, Fang. I mean, we all talk about that. If they did something special for her and made her really good, I think that she would do extremely well.
There's actually quite a few characters without LDs.
Kind of. Ali's. I was surprised they didn't pick an FF14 character, because FF14, most of their cast is still waiting for an LD. Papa Lamo is very popular. All these scions are really popular. I hear people talk about them all the time. I'm just shocked. Out of all of them, I'm like, man, Alize. We wouldn't have made. I'm not a fan, but I would have complained probably a lot less because their kit's more up to date. That's just how I feel. I'm like, man, there's all these characters that are still pretty decent and kind of popular enough. I really think if there is another global LD first, it's probably going to be an FF14 character. I know it's a little off topic, but that's my thought, because so many of them still need it and none of them have it.
Yeah, Ace is saying Lilizette needs it the most. I'd go for a Lily LD. Yeah, there's still a lot. There's still a lot of LD options. So that is definitely. We can definitely get more LD first. We still have quite a bit of time, 6 more months at least, before JP gets all of the LDs and then gets on to the next thing. So, hey, well, thank you. You can submit your questions. I think unless we get some more surprises, looking ahead to this month, we'll have some time to answer questions. Looking ahead, Act 3, Chapter 1, Part 1. Somebody earlier mentioned that all of Onion Knight's cycle is permanent content. Interesting, right? So Act 3, Chapter 1, Part 1, March 1st. Arcilla Chapter, March 5th. That will launch as we stream next week. Act 3, Chapter 1, Part 2, March 10th. Raid event is March 15th. Kais LC is March 18th. Transcendence Tier 1, March 22nd. And the next SQEX Community stream is March 22nd as well. So we will fit all both Onion Knight and Paladin Cecil cycles in the next 22 or the first 22 days of March. So there will be some stuff at the end of March there and going into it. So does Onion Knight feel delayed? No, I think it's actually good because you're gonna get both cycles in March with some change. So that's good. Yeah. Onion Knight LDBT is coming March 1st. So that would be Sunday night here in the United States in 3 days, or March 1st in the UTC. So it's an only 3 days. February is only 28 days. So it's not a leap year. So and we have not, Trez, good point. There has been no confirmation of the updated start dash, which did happen, I believe, before Transcendence launched in JP. Doesn't mean we're not getting it. It just means it was not announced. So Joshua made a comment, not reading anything into what he said, but he did make a comment about, this month is more loaded than it seems or something like that. So I anticipate we'll probably see some other stuff. Maybe we will get the news of the start dash on the stream before the event kicks off, Transcendence kicks off. So, but yeah, we've been getting about 2 BT cycles a month. So things seem to be on schedule so far. We've really not had any delays. Well, thank you. For Arrow, Kreese, and myself, this has been episode 141 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded February 25th, 2021. Learn all about us at tccpodcast.com. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Or on Facebook and Twitter. You can check out our YouTube, where I share all kinds of different videos, including monthly. I just shared a monthly tier list for the upcoming month. Poll videos. Arrow has all kinds of content on her YouTube channel as well, which is Laylee on YouTube. All of our friends, including DissidiaFFOO, Tonberry Troupe, MateriaBot, OO Tracker, and all of our content creator friends. Zeno, TXB Gaming, is he still on here? You can find all their links below. And until then, friends, this has been the Crystal Chronicles. Good luck. Keep again your thoughts and prayers for Zeta. Hopefully we'll hear some good news soon. And we'll see you next Thursday for episode 142. Goodbye.